Hey there, welcome back to the Destination Baby and Kids YouTube channel. This is Gina. I am your host, and I am here to go over some really awesome travel car seats with you. So for a while, I've been wanting to do a travel car seat showdown because I get a lot of people that ask me about this one travel car seat called the Pico Wavy Pico. I do love that car seat. It's really awesome. It's very expensive. It's $380. And it's forward facing only. It also has very confusing instructions regarding the forward facing shoulder harness height of that seat. I still have poor clarity on that, and I've sold it for a long time. So that's something I should really go over with the company. But that being said, my preference as a car seat technician is to encourage best practice. And so you say, hey Gina, what's best practice? Best practice means using a car seat in the safest possible way for the longest period of time that's allowable for the seat to be used. So that's a really long-winded way of saying kids should stay backward facing as long as the seat and the kid can tolerate it and work together according to the instructions. So if you're going to come to California, which is where I live, and you're bringing your Pico Wavy and your 14-month-old child, and you install that Wavy and you put your kid in and you go for a drive, if you get pulled over, you are going to get a ticket. Certain states, like California, have a law where children have to be rear-facing until the age of 2. So if you go to a state where suddenly it's the age of 1, does that mean it's a good idea to turn your kid forward-facing? No, absolutely not. Physics is physics all over the world. A rear-facing car seat is 80% safer than a forward-facing car seat. So this whole video was spawned by talking to another store owner. We were talking about how frustrating it is to have people putting their kid forward-facing on vacation. So we wanted to figure out separately, obviously, but both of us are trying to think of ways to be able to suggest seats that are good for rear-facing while you're on vacation. So that's sort of like the idea behind this video. But let's say you have an additional car. You don't want to spend $1 million on a car seat. You are just looking for something inexpensive and easy to use. This video makes sense for you too. So the seats that we're looking at are the Cosco Scenera Next. I get asked about this seat almost weekly and have for years. This guy right here is the Maxi Cosi Romi. So this is a newer offering from Maxi Cosi, rear and forward facing car seat. And this guy on the end is the Graco Contender, which is a rear and forward facing. So all of these seats are convertible car seats. None of them do booster, but they're all backward to forward facing. These guys right here are the same exact car seat. You're probably like, what? How can that be? They're completely different brands. They're actually owned by the same brand, but there are going to be differences between these seats that might matter to you as a consumer, so let's get into what that is. Cosco Scenera Next is going to be your most affordable option. This seat has been sold forever. It goes 40 pounds rear facing, 40 pounds forward facing, starts at 5 pounds, and rear facing height is 40 inches, forward facing height is 43 inches. Romi, rear facing 40 pounds, forward facing 40 pounds, rear facing 40-inch height limit, forward facing 43-inch height limit. Both of these seats have an interior width of around 11 inches, and both of these seats have a very short forward facing or rear facing top harness height. The top harness height on either of these seats, which means the distance from the lowest part of the kid's fanny to the top of their shoulder, torso harnessed height on either one of these is 13.5 inches. That is really, really short. So I can understand why the seat only holds 40 pounds in both directions. If they got tall quickly and are still under that 40-pound weight, it's very likely that they could outgrow this seat incredibly rapidly. So what am I even saying here? If you've got a 4, 5, 6, 7-year-old and you're looking for a travel car seat, I probably wouldn't push you in this direction. The reason being is that the kids are gonna be probably too big for it. You do need to measure your child to make sure, but that's something that I feel on both of these seats is going to be, I don't wanna say lacking, but just something to keep in mind versus 99% of the other car seats that we see hold much taller, much heavier children. So 40 pounds rear facing, 40 pounds forward facing. If they're the same seat, what's the difference? Glad you asked. Biggest difference with Maxi Cosi versus the Cosco is going to be the material. So here we get what's called pure Cosi. This is going to be flame retardant free. Additionally, I thought it was really cool, sticking with sort of that green idea. When you get this out of your box from your home, it's going to be not in a plastic bag. This one came in its own heavy duty plastic cover with like a zipper, which I actually thought was cool, because like if I was going to travel with it, I'm like cheap enough to reuse that and just like send it down the jetway that way. But yeah, so this one will come in a plastic bag. This one doesn't. This one I'm certain has flame retardants on the material, and this guy doesn't. This material is also significantly plusher than what you get here. Now on the Scenera Next, I'm certain there are other color options. If you don't want wild wavy gray, you don't have to do that. But I did specifically get this one in the black just to show off kind of how sleek it could look if it had different material on it. Both of these seats come with cup holders, which is a really nice feature, but the seats will have one other difference. When you do rear facing on the Maxi Cosi or forward facing, your latch looks like this. This is a heavy duty latch that's easier to install. Its primary benefit though is for when you're ready to take it out, you'll push the red button and pull. That should sit flush right sort of in your seat bite. These are much easier to remove than the hook and anchor style that you get here or that you get with the Graco Contender on the end here. This is a hook and anchor style latch. This is not a bad latch. It's just going to be a little bit more work for removing the seat if it's latched into place. Again, not difficult, but might take an extra second or two to do. Now, that being said, again, the Scenera, which I didn't go over pricing of these probably. Scenera I was able to get for 65 bucks, 63 actually. So this is unbelievably cheap. Both of these seats are 7 pounds. This one, the Romi, is $129. So again, functionally identical to this seat. When we take off the fabric on either one of these two seats from either Cosco or Maxi Cosi, we peel this fabric up and back, you're able to see that the interior of the seat is just plastic, all the way down from the bottom, all the way up to the top. That's going to be true on this guy as well. Whew, this fabric is a lot thinner. I mean, it should be, like, that's a lot more expensive. It's nearly twice as much. But as you can see, both of these seats are just plastic shells designed to correctly position the body in an accident. Why does that matter if it's just a plastic shell? It matters because when we're looking at car seats, we're trying to look for ride down features that like take the amount of time it takes for the impact to transfer to the kid's body. On more expensive car seats and heavier car seats, you're gonna see bike helmet foam on various parts of the seat. So that can be lined all the way down the shell. Some seats do it all the way through the tailbone. But there's nothing in here at all on either one of these seats, like nothing around the head even, that would have that bike helmet foam. So that is one thing to be aware of that you would be missing out on either one of these two guys. Again, not a bad thing. It's gonna make the seat lighter, but it's something that if that matters to you, I would call it out as a strong difference between this guy here on the end. I'll make these look perfect later. So I'm gonna remove this one just for now. And we'll now focus on the little Graco over here. So this is the Graco Contender. This is about 15 pounds. Again, either one of these two other guys is about 7 pounds. So this is twice the weight. This one was also more expensive. So again, Scenera, we were at 65. The other one we were at 129. This seat is typically 150. I was able to get it on sale for 112. It might have been the color, but they all come in other colors. You can get other colors if these are not your favorite colors. It just helps differentiates the seats for my videos to show them in different colors. This purple one here on the end, this Graco Contender, has better features all the way around than the other two guys. It is heavier, but it's got better features. So I will say the junky part of this is the type of latch they use. I was hopeful that at the price point that they offered that they would give us the latch with the red button, but that's okay. This will come with 2 cup holders, and a bigger value here versus these guys is with the Scenera Next or the Romi. When my child gets larger, or if they're smaller, I need to do what's called a manual rethread, which means I loosen this, I come to the back of the seat, I find this piece, I pull it through, and then I refeed it depending on which position it needs to be in based on the size of my child. So as you saw, this is not difficult for me to do. If you've ever laced a shoelace before, it's a very similar concept, so it's not hard. But as you can see, there is opportunity for things to get twisted, mucked up, not done perfectly. Maybe we do both simultaneously and pull this around. You know, so asking the user to do more manual adjustment is going to be part and parcel to the seat or the Romi. Adjust the thing before you arrive at your destination. I cannot stress that enough. You don't want to be at the airport parking garage with your kids screaming, your spouse annoyed, and then trying to futz with the seat in the dark. Like, get real. Have this sucker adjusted before you take off on the airplane. Your life will be easier. That being said, also, this Graco is 18.5 inches wide, where these guys are 17. So this is a little wider. This is gonna hold bigger kids too, but we'll get into that. So, as we talked about with both of these seats, it's a short duration of use. You only get 13 inches or 13.5 inches of seated torso height on the Romi or the Scenera Next. On the Graco Contender, we go 40 pounds rear facing, 65 pounds forward facing, and instead of a 43-inch standing height, we get a 49-inch standing height, which is awesome. And we also get 18 inches of seated torso height. So from butt to shoulder, you're looking at an 18-inch body length, which is awesome. Additionally, this is a no rethread harness. So when I want to adjust it, depending on how big or small my kid is, that is a very simple adjustment, and I could do that on the fly in a dark parking garage and not feel like my life was going to end because I had to, you know, thread a shoelace suddenly out of nowhere. That being said, both of these seats for rear-facing installation will go in at the proper recline level. What I'll point out about this seat that I thought is kind of, I mean, it's lame or whack, however you want to put it. There's a line here on the seat itself, and this is true with the Romi, that shows us how to make sure that it's level with the ground. Black on black is really difficult to see. I don't understand why they couldn't have made that demarcation with a sticker, something that calls out to the parent to be much more aware of how to install that properly. So I'm going to give them a lower grade just for that. I hate that. If you look on this guy, when we go to rear facing mode, there's a foot that stays connected so you won't lose it on the bottom of the seat. That'll go in, and on this seat, I'm just going to put this down. You'll see there is a level indicator. So it's only on one side, but it'll have a little ball, and it marks with different colors and different age weight ranges where that ball needs to be sitting. So it is a clearer communication to the consumer of what the hell they're supposed to be doing when they install it. I really think that that's a nice feature, and I think that's very important with the seat. Additionally, since we're talking about best practice, this seat, although it only holds 40 pounds rear facing, your child could be much longer and still sitting in the seat in rear facing mode versus either one of these other two seats. As you can see here, they would outgrow that without the head protection. Here, the shell extends upward, so we're going to be able to get a longer duration of use, which makes sense. It's more expensive and it's a little bit heavier. Now, that being said, ooh, makes a ratcheting sound when you tighten it. Loosening, nice and easy. So I would give higher marks to this seat for the harness being easier to tighten and loosen than the other guy. The infant insert that's shown in here is nice too. If you're actually going to use this seat with a kid that's under a year, I do like that that infant positioner would be a better body positioner than seats that have none whatsoever. So it's a nice feature that it includes it. The other thing with this seat is when we take the fabric off, this one comes with 2 cup holders. The other ones come with 1. I couldn't care less, but if that's important to you, it's a nice additional feature. If we look at the inside of this seat, you'll see it's just plastic. So again, just the plastic shell. And I was so sad when I saw that, but then I got really excited because when we get up here to where the kid's head is, you know, like a bike helmet around their head, we have bike helmet foam, and that goes all the way around their head. So, yes, this type of foam could be lining the seat. That would make the seat, you know, theoretically safer, nicer, whatever. My thrill here is that the part where the kids' thoughts are, where their head is, their operational processing center, that we do have EPS foam surrounding them. And we know that we're always, the other thing about a headrest like this versus having a big open wide space is that if you are struck from the side or their head is moving left to right, this makes that distance smaller versus having a wider distance for their head to slam around. We've got a smaller distance. So some of the safety features here for the extra money and the extra weight would probably be worth it to me personally. But again, every parent's going to be different about what they value and the different price point that they're looking for. So if you want your best, strongest value, I do think with the Graco, you're getting that. If you want, again, because it'll hold 65 forward facing, the longer body to 18 inches, it does have the EPS foam around it, and it is the most luxurious, probably considering you get the 2 cup holders with it. Again, 18.5 inches wide, so if you're doing 3 across, you'd need to be more mindful with that seat. You could probably still achieve it, but you'd be shoving stuff around. Scenera, this is our least expensive option. This one's gonna clock in at like $65 and 7 pounds. So if it breaks or something happens to it, you don't have to feel bad. You're not out $1 million. And then if you're looking for lightweight, easy, like this, but you prefer the green story, you like knowing that your seat has no flame retardants, and you like knowing that they're not contributing to the plastic waste story, you would get that on this Maxi Cosi Romi. Both the Romi and the Scenera next will come with 1 cup holder. Contender is going to come with 2 cup holders. Again, you're at about 65 bucks, 130, and this one is 150, all at your regular everyday pricing. So hopefully that clears up for some of you, like, hey, what's a good option for me? If you've got questions or comments, please feel free to leave them below. Please feel free to hit like and subscribe. And if you think this information is useful for someone else, happily share the info to them. There's a share copy link, send it in a messenger, whatever. But these are some great choices to consider if you're looking for either just, you know, inexpensive, lightweight, secondary car seat, or maybe even primary car seat, whatever floats your boat. I'm thrilled that you were able to watch this. We appreciate our viewers so much. Please feel free to check out any of my other videos, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thank you so much.